Benji is back to protect some cougar cubs in Benji the Hunted. And Spaceballs is Mel Brooks' new comedy. It's all coming up next on Siskel and Ebert and the Movies.
Well, everybody's heard about the bird.
He's a startled but happy Marine in Vietnam, this time not in the jungles of the film Platoon, but in the Vietnamese cities of Full Metal Jacket, the latest film directed by Stanley Kubrick, and one of 4 new movies we'll be reviewing this week. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Few films have been more eagerly awaited this summer than Full Metal Jacket, the Vietnam epic by Stanley Kubrick, and few films, I'm afraid, will be more disappointing. This isn't a bad film, but it's not a great film, and in the recent history of movies about Vietnam, Full Metal Jacket is too little and too late. It invites comparison with Platoon, and I'm afraid it suffers by that comparison. The movie tells the story of a group of infantrymen from basic training right through to a fatal firefight with an enemy sniper, and of course there's no way we can see that story and not be reminded of Platoon, which is a stronger and more confident movie. Full Metal Jacket stars Lee Ermey as a tough, profane Marine drill instructor who is so single-minded in his devotion to the Corps that he's actually capable of making a speech like this.
Anybody know who Lee Harvey Oswald was? Private Snowball.
Sir, he shot Kennedy, sir.
That's right. And do you know how far away he was?
Sir, it was pretty far from that book depository building, sir.
All right, knock it off. 250 feet. He was 250 feet away and shooting at a moving target. Oswald got off 3 rounds with an old Italian bolt-action rifle in only 6 seconds and scored 2 hits, including a headshot. Do any of you people know where these individuals learned how to shoot? Private Joker.
Sir, in the Marines, sir!
In the Marines, outstanding. Those individuals showed what one motivated Marine and his rifle can do.
That haunting face belongs to one of the recruits who's just about to go over the edge. Once they're in Vietnam, one of the other Marines is assigned duty as a journalist and learns the propaganda ropes.
Search and destroy. We have a new directive from MAF on this. In the future, in place of search and destroy, substitute the phrase sweep and clear. Sweep and clear. Got it?
Got it. Very catchy.
That's Matthew Modine as the would-be journalist there. A lot of the second half of the film was given over to a firefight in the city of Hue, where snipers pinned down the Americans while cameramen filmed the story for the evening news.
You, John Wayne? Is this me? Hey, start the cameras. This is Vietnam, the movie. Yeah, Joker can be John Wayne. I'll be a horse. C.H.E. Rock can be a rock.
I'll be Aunt Margaret. Animal Mother can be a rabid buffalo. I'll be General Custer. We'll be the Indians. Hey, we'll let the Gooks play the Indians.
Some of those scenes, especially the first 2, might make you think that Full Metal Jacket resembles the dark irony of Stanley Kubrick's classic 1963 anti-war film, Dr. Strangelove, but you'd only be about half right. There is irony in this movie and satire and comedy, but there is also way too much routine war footage. The opening scenes in basic training recycle material we've seen before, all except for a brilliant performance by Vincent D'Onofrio as a pudgy weakling who the Marines turn into a psychopath. That was him we saw looking up at the camera in that earlier scene. And there is more recycling at the end of the film, which is devoted to that firefight in the ruins of a burning city, a sequence that was shot on a giant set and looks like it and reminded me more of World War II war movies than of the Special War in Vietnam. We expect an original masterpiece from Stanley Kubrick every time out, and this time I'm afraid, see, not a bad movie, but it's not original and it's not a masterpiece.
Oh, I think it's very original and very close to being a masterpiece. I mean, first of all, I think that the stuff that we see, the training sequences, are absolutely startling. Even though this is familiar material, I think that image that we got of that guy is explosive, and I'll never forget it. Second, the fighting here is a different kind of fighting than in Platoon. It's city fighting, and it looks different, and it's a whole different war, and he's playing this film, I think, at a whole nother level. Platoon was about embracing the soldier and giving the soldier credit for this crazy world that he was in. This fighting, to me, is about the mixture of joy in fighting and the absolute fear of being killed, in the sense of when there's this guy called Animal who charges, I was so excited for him. And it's the guy I'm supposed to hate. And then when I see a sniper go on an American and Kubrick has his camera push in, I feel for the first time people getting attacked. I think visually this is the strongest movie I've seen in a long time.
First of all, I didn't think it was that visually exciting except for a few specific shots that were really great. But secondly, let's talk about that very sequence you're talking about. One of the guy's friends is wounded and he's out there under fire, and the other one says, I'm going to go get him, and he runs out blasting with his machine gun to try to rescue him. Then later, the others come up behind, and we can clearly see where the sniper is. Then when you get to that reverse shot and he pushes in, that is a cliche, Gene. I mean, when I saw that push, I was so disappointed in Kubrick. This whole sequence is taken right out of absolutely routine grade B Republic World War II war movies of guys running out there to try to save their buddy and somebody else shooting at them.
I have never felt a kill in a movie quite like that, ever, in any Vietnam film.
Not in Apocalypse Now, not in The Deer Hunter?
Not like that. Not like that.
Well, then in that case, you're going to love The Late Show, because they have kills like that every night in black and white, starring John Wayne, starting about midnight.
But they don't have movies like this film, Full Metal Jacket.
I disagree, and I disagree particularly about the part that you like.
Well, that's just one scene. I like the whole film. It's full of great scenes. Full Metal Jacket. Later in the show, we'll take a look at 2 Stanley Kubrick films that are true classics on video cassette. But